Alrighty, so I had a couple of people asking for me to make, I guess, any sort of content on this new My Hero game that just came out, and I've got to say, I think it's really cool, but I don't really think that it's something that I could, make my main sort of game. The biggest reason being, I can't seem to find a good way to play this on an emulator, which is really unfortunate because as much as dumb as it sounds, I really don't like playing mobile games mobily. Like, I don't like playing mobile games on my phone. I prefer to stay off of my phone if possible, because the more that these games sort of progress and start to look better and everything like that, the hotter it makes your phone when you play the game, and the more it drains your battery and such and such. I much prefer to play games on my computer. And I know that sounds kind of weird or maybe dumb to some people, but personal preference, just its convenience sake, really, as far as it goes. I do like the gameplay, kind of. I'm not the biggest fan of it being sort of like an actual fighting game, but I think it is kind of cool. I think a lot of people can really get behind that because, a lot of games don't really have this sort of gameplay style. It's more simplistic, but I think I'm a little bit more of a fan of the simplicity style sort of gameplay. I do like this, and I think this is really cool, but I just don't think it's something that I would want to have to deal with sort of in the day-to-day gameplay of it. I think it's a cool novelty almost, but at the end of the day, it is a mobile game, and if it was meant for me to play on the phone, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of touchscreen controls, and I think that's really where the root of it is for me. But I could definitely see a lot of people liking this because the game, honestly, it looks great. It feels really good. The game has a lot of great settings and stuff like that. If your phone can support it, you can actually use, you can make it to where the game runs in 60 FPS. You can change a lot of the graphical settings to make the game look really, really good and everything like that. I'm running on low graphics, on everything, just to make sure that it runs a lot faster, and I'm on 60 FPS, so that way it runs smoothly. And honestly, the game doesn't look bad at all. It's a mobile game, so I wasn't really expecting a whole lot, and I think it turned out really good as far as I'm concerned. So, from that aspect of it, I do like the graphics and everything like that. There is another My Hero game that they sort of have in the works, or they have a Japanese version of the game out. I think it's called Ultra Impact, maybe? That one seems a little bit more, as far as the gameplay and stuff like that, seems a little bit more up my alley, but also the graphics in that one, the characters are very chibi, sort of small, big head models and everything like that. I do like the fact that this one plays into sort of almost the Grand Cross style, where it actually uses full-fledged 3D models of the characters and everything like that, where I feel a lot of mobile games don't do that, because it's either too hard to model them, or it just, I guess it's probably a lot harder and easier for them to just get away with making sort of simplistic models of the characters and everything. So I do like that this game uses full-fledged models of the characters. I think that the game is really neat. But there's just the fact that it can't really run on an emulator is probably the biggest deal, and the summoning mechanic is also kind of not my favorite. I've played a couple of games that use the same sort of summoning mechanic that this one does, where you sort of pull puzzle pieces and stuff like that, where you can unlock characters that way, and I'm just not really a big fan of it. I think I would much rather pull characters in general and then just get dupes of them and feed the dupes and stuff like that. Sort of like the way that Grand Cross has it. That was one of the biggest reasons why I played Grand Cross in general, because I'm not a big fan of the puzzle piece sort of mechanic, and I'm also not a big fan of the games where you pull multiple characters and you either just have to you can just fill your box up with the same character over and over again, or you can just use that character to as almost an XP boost to boost another character. I don't know, I'm just not really a big fan of those two sort of mechanics, I guess, as far as some games can do. But I don't know, I'm not hating this game. It's really cool. I think it'll be something fun to keep on the phone whenever I actually just kind of want to play it and mess around with it and stuff like that. But as far as like me actually trying to like sit down and put a lot of time and effort into the game, I really don't think that that's going to happen. I just don't really care as much for the fighting style sort of aspect, because I'm not a big fan of like fighting games in general. Well, I like fighting games, but I'm really bad at fighting games, and I don't find them I find them really fun to watch, but not as much on like a play sort of thing, if you know what I'm talking about. So I think for me, the game is neat, but it's just not really my style, which kind of sucks, because I do think that this game is really cool. I know I've said that 1,000 times over, but it's just, I don't know. It's just not really what I was looking for. I do like that it's made by like a bigger company, like Sony is the publisher, which I think is pretty crazy. I think that they'll probably give the game the attention and sort of like love that it probably needs. Hopefully they listen to the community and stuff like that. I don't know. I think that there is a Japanese version of this game, and I think it has been out for a couple of months before this global version came out. So I'm sure that there's somewhat of an insight into like what's coming next and everything like that. And I do kind of hope that the Japanese developers and stuff like that have been very good about listening to the community and stuff. I really don't know. I haven't looked into that a whole lot. The launch of this was actually very confusing, I feel like, because there was a lot of people who were super excited that it was coming out yesterday. It was supposed to come out, or well, technically it was supposed to come out today at 12 a.m., so several hours ago at this point. And first, I guess they ended up launching like the UK version of the game first, which on the English Twitter account, or like not the English, the American Twitter account, like for the regular game, they ended up like they put a tweet out and were like, oh hey, like we're excited to partner with the UK version of the game for like a simultaneous launch where everybody can play at the same time. And then the UK version of the game came out and people were like already downloading it and getting into it. And if you were, if you have an American Google account or whatever, it was like, okay, this isn't available in your country if you tried to go to it from their link. But yeah, as far as I know, it still was kind of like tough for people to get into it as of like right now when I'm playing it. I just happened to get on the store and I was like going to see if it was still saying like, oh hey, like pre-register or not, and like for like a split second it would say install, and then it would immediately change over to pre-register. And I might have missed this ult actually because I wasn't close enough. Yeah, that was pretty bad. I do like the animations and stuff like that. The game is really cool. But yeah, there was like a split second where you could tap install and then it would change to pre-register, and I just tried it one time really quickly to see if I could actually hit the install button, and it surprisingly did work. I did download the game on the emulator as well, and I tried to mess around with it and see if I could get maybe a gamepad working, like I have an Xbox 360 controller, or an Xbox One controller actually, but I was gonna see if I could try to get that to sort of work and maybe try to play with a controller, because I think this game would actually work out pretty well with a controller. But as far as like using BlueStacks and trying to get it to actually cooperate with my controller and everything like that, it was just a huge hassle, and I thought it would be just way easier to just play it on the phone at this point. So yeah, I don't know if they came out with like a PC version of it or something like that, because I think it could work really well as just like a PC game in general. Just from the way that the like play style and everything like that works, I think it could work really well. I really like when mobile games do PC versions and everything like that, but I know that for them it's probably not the greatest sort of investment in like time and like money to sort of develop it for the PC when you're like, I would imagine majority of the players are gonna be playing on the phone either way. So I could definitely see it being not the greatest, but I really like when games do have an actual like PC port, or just a way to play it on the PC, like through a launcher or something like that. I really do like that a lot, but not a lot of games do that. I think this one would work really well though if they ended up doing that. I think because it's made by, or I don't think it's made by Sony, I think it's published by Sony, but I think with their support, maybe there could be potential to actually like see that in the future, but obviously we'll just have to see. But yeah, I've been playing it for the last couple of hours. I've been pretty much enjoying it. I haven't done any summons yet. I do have 10 tickets that I want to try to summon with. As far as I can tell, the rates on the game are really not great. So it's like, I think it's like a little over a 1% chance to get an S tier character, which is pretty low. But I guess the kicker there is because they use the whole like puzzle piece sort of method to like summoning and everything like that, you can potentially just do several summons over time and get, you know, enough puzzle pieces to unlock the character instead of you having to get super lucky and pull them, because I'm sure the puzzle pieces for specific characters are a lot easier to pull than the actual character itself. So I guess that's how they kind of justify the rates. The game seems to have sort of almost like a Genshin Impact sort of like pity system, I guess you would say, where after you do X amount of multis or whatever, or pulls in general, I think you're guaranteed to get a certain, you know, pull. I think if you do a multi, each multi or like every 10 pulls, I think is a guaranteed character itself, so it's not going to be just puzzle pieces. And then I think on 100 pulls or 10 multis, it is a guaranteed S rank hero. So that is pretty interesting. I think a lot of people really like that sort of mechanic that play Genshin Impact and stuff. So I could see it being a really like decent sort of like pro to playing the game. I think that a lot of people will probably end up liking that, because honestly, with that sort of system and how it works, you can basically if it carries over like Genshin Impact does, I don't know if it will or not. But on Genshin Impact, I know a lot of people will do sort of like, they'll summon a whole bunch until they get really close to getting the pity, and then they'll just wait for a character that comes out that they really want, and then they'll get the pity whenever that character comes out. So that way they don't really have to summon a whole lot, and they can just kind of save their currency and everything like that. I don't know if that's how this is going to work, but this is the basic banner that they've got going on. We can go and look at the drop details. So you can see it's a 1.2% chance for S rank heroes, which is really low. It's a 3% chance for a rank A, and then a 4% chance for rank B, which all of these rank Bs, these three right here, you get within the first 3 chapters of the game. So I guess if you pulled them, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but I think more often than not, you're going to want these characters that you're not just pulling straight out of the story, obviously. Right now, they actually have a, I guess because the game just launched or whatever, they're doing like a first-time purchase bonus, of course, which a lot of them do, where I think it's like spend as little as like 99 cents or just like $1 US, and you get like a guaranteed copy of Uraraka, which is pretty decent because I think she's one of the better A-class heroes. So, yeah, pretty interesting. Other than that, it's a 91.8% chance to pull just the memory shards or the little puzzle pieces that I was talking about. So I guess let's do a multi really quick. This should guarantee me at least one character. I just kind of hope that it's not, you know, a B rank hero. So we're going to sign our name. I think that's an awful signature, but hey, it is what it is. And then we got, okay, so we actually got Uraraka, which is kind of cool. I actually did want to test her out, so that's really interesting. But you can see, like, we pull puzzle pieces and stuff like that. See, I own 2 of those. And then I guess you can just use, if you already have the character because you start with Midoriya, I guess you could just technically use those to power up the character, I guess, is how that works. But yeah, I pulled some extra puzzle pieces for those. I got 3 Idas. I do want to see how that works as far as like the character itself goes. So if we go to the heroes, it's like I pulled 3 puzzle pieces for Ida. Okay, so I have 3 out of 30 to obtain Ida. So I guess if you get lucky with it enough, you can obviously unlock the character that way. But yeah, I'm pretty okay with that. We got an A rank hero, and Uraraka's pretty cool in general, so I don't even have to spend the $1 that it would cost me, because like you can go to the main menu right here, the first top up bonus or whatever, and you get a copy of her from buying whatever for 99 cents. So I can just completely not spend any money in this game and feel completely comfortable with that, because I'm not really worried about spending anything on this game at the moment. I just don't think I'm really gonna like play it enough to really justify purchasing anything in it. But who knows? Maybe I'll keep it on the phone and play it every now and then and sort of get used to it. And maybe I'll try to, or maybe I'll like prefer it over time. But as far as I'm concerned, it's really just not something that I'm looking for like as a main game. Like I just don't think that it's really the style that I'm looking for. I don't think it's something that I could really just invest a whole lot of time into. I think I would get bored of this pretty quickly, which is unfortunate because I do like My Hero Academia. I really enjoyed the anime, and I would like to play a game of it, but I just don't think that this is really the one that I'm looking for. So that's pretty much it. I know that this was kind of like a weird sort of, I guess, like first impressions or sort of like gameplay video or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I just wanted to give some sort of thoughts and opinions on the game since it came out and I was able to kind of get my hands on it and play it a little bit. I want to continue playing it because they do have like PvP and stuff like that, but I could see this being one of those games where PvP is just going to be dominated by like S-rank heroes. Like somebody who has 3 S-rank heroes is probably just going to use all 3 of those and just absolutely dominate the, you know, the meta and everything like that. And just, I feel like it might be pretty easily like pay to win if as far as like that goes. But I don't know. We'll have to see how it turns out. So that is basically it from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to subscribe for more content in the future. I wouldn't recommend subscribing for more My Hero per se, but yeah, I definitely want to try out some other mobile games and stuff like that whenever they come out if they're really interesting. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.